Bom dia, Thierry.
Bom dia, Marco.
Welcome, everybody. This is the Innovation for the Future Crowd Circle. Today, it's me and Thierry holding the space. And Thierry, my proposal is for us to go to check-in.
Yeah, that's fine.
Thank you. I go first. I had a good night's sleep and I'm tired. I have some tiredness in my body, and also my energy level, more my vitality are low, and I'm feeling sadness in my system. I suspect that what could be the reason, and it's like a suddenly sadness, like I wake up with this sadness, and I notice that in my morning meditation. I take care of myself, have a good bath, do some yoga practice, and have a great breakfast. And I'm noticing my sadness arriving. Yeah, I'm also with fear. I'm in a kind of drama, in a kind of a drama. With someone, and yeah, I'm with fear how that will unfold and how that is contaminating my day. Also, I'm with fear because in the next week I will do a program, a very interesting program for young adults, young men. It's a retreat of 3 days retreat for young people to go and experiment what could be living in a culture, responsible and regenerative culture. And I'm very glad to do this work, and at the same time with fear. It's the first time, and yeah, I'm using my fear to be conscious and pay attention to the details and planning and preparation and all that stuff. That is very alive in my system. And it's me arriving for this today's circle. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, for me, I actually today I feel I have a bit more energy than the last few days. Yesterday I was looking at this astrology forecast, and the guy had this in English you call it the sloth, like this monkey that just very slow. He just hangs in the trees forever, and I felt really like that. But I accepted it also, and you know, just when it's slow. And last night I had a great meditation, and also decided consciously to go deeper, not be distracted by external things, but just be the peace deeper, and it really helps. So I'm happy with that, and I'm also aware that in the bigger world there's a lot of turbulence in nature, with some storms and huge waves, and also in the whatever politics, economics. So there's a lot of turbulence going on, and the best again is just to go deeper in the heart and not be too much distracted. And actually, I think that last few days I made a choice also to not look too much. You know, I had my updates on the daily news and whatever, and the most important thing I can do is just be here in the heart. So, and I'm happy to be with you. Thank you.
Thank you, Thierry. Thank you. I was listening your check-in and also mine, contemplating mine, and I have a proposal for us to explore today. You are living near Aljezur. I'm living near Lisbon, and these two places are into bioregions. The bioregion in where Aljezur is it's called, the letter is T, and it's a bioregion that starts in Vila Nova de Mil Fontes and go until Sagres, and is a line in the coast. It's just a line in the coast that Aljezur, like the line passes through Aljezur. Aljezur is here and the line passes here. It's just that coast from Vila Nova de Mil Fontes to Sagres. That's the line in the coast. That is the bioregion.
I did the whole walk, so I know.
Okay. Saying that Odmira is not part of that bioregion, for an example. Okay. And also Mushik is not part of the bioregion. A great part of Mushik, it's from another bioregion, where Odmira is. And in my own, the bioregion where I am is called, the letter is M, and it's cover this Lisbon and Big Lisbon, but on the north of the Tejo, not on the south. On the south, it's another bioregion, but the letter is N. And I'm in the north. And it involves places like Sintra, part of Mafra, mainly Sintra, Cascais, Oeiras, Loures, this big Lisbon on the north. And my proposal is for us to speak a little bit about that bioregion, that where we know that are happening in this bioregion, what is our perception, some description of the places, and where is the places, like have a conversation with this layer of the bioregion where we are involved and what we know that are happening there in that bioregion. What do you think and feel about this proposal?
I think it's interesting, and I was also contemplating on last week's when we were sharing stories, because in the end, you know, it's all stories. So maybe if we do it from that perspective also, stories like your personal experience there, what you discovered there. If you understand what I mean.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I'm listening that you have a yes, and with bringing some stories to the to the table. And I have a yes for us to try and see what it comes.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm start. This is a big bioregion in the sense, not geographically big, but mainly big in the population. It's a very I really don't know, but near 1 million and maybe 2 million persons in this bioregion. It's mainly urban, and there are some centers in that bioregion that have interesting projects, like Sintra. Sintra is a very creative hub in this movement for exploring next culture, or could be the evolution of the culture, with some schools, with some projects. Like yesterday, I interviewed Rita Vinturini in the 10 sheet, and she is in Sintra. And it's an example of a project that is exploring these dimensions of the edge of the culture. And then she is exploring with Thierry, you, and with work in the body, with the embodiment dimension of the leadership. Arowana have been here in the last year and in Tenchi, doing the introduction of the SPT, social presence in theater. It's a place that is working a lot with Thierry and experimenting with teams. And I recommend to see the interview with Rita. It's a very interesting, very interesting interview. Yes, that there is this area. There is also Cascais that has some. Cascais, it's more connected with the social entrepreneurship dimension.
Yeah, my brother lived there, so I know it a bit.
And more with some projects also interested, like the social entrepreneurship school, or the social business school, as they call. There is also some projects. No, it's not a correct way to say. In the Oeiras, we don't have so many projects, but we have so many interesting people that living there that has projects in other places, or in a virtual dimension, or like Vasco Gaspar that is working in DeepU with Thierry and human development and flourishing. He lives in that place. Yeah, there is so many interesting people there. I have also an interview with Maria Coelho that she moved, but she was from that place. Whereas, yes, there is also very interesting projects in Lisbon, inside Lisbon. And when I'm connect with the projects and with the people, the projects are mainly for outside. It's more in services dimension, like funding or a gathering like the Planeteers. It's more in the service dimension. And I don't know so many projects that are focused in the city by themselves, in transforming the city. There is a cooperative, a very interesting project cooperative in the middle of Lisbon that I hope to interview them for the Innovations for the Future Game World Builder, that are doing some interesting work around that. It's an integral cooperative from the movement of Montmore and Minga. They are doing that. But I don't know so many projects that have this stance in transforming the place. I'm seeing more of that in Sintra and not in the other municipalities. And I'm noticing that around like Lourdes and Amadora, there is more social projects, and I don't know any project with this hemming of working in the next thing. And for me, my perspective, and I also felt that inside me, I have this resistance of working in this territory, like the sensation in myself, it's not my place, like a thing like this. It's not my place. I live here, I work here, my children are in the school nearby, like our life in the last 2 years has been in this place, and I have the sensation that this is not my place, that I need to move to another place, and that place will be mine. I have this thing inside myself, and I'm finding that there is a lot of people, I don't know a lot, but I'm talking with people and with some people, and they also have this sensation that they live in Lisbon, or they live in Oeiras, or they live where, in Sintra, but they have this thing that is not the territory, particularly the people that are more in the city or in Lourdes, in this kind of municipalities, like places that are mainly for sleeping or have a big dimension of sleeping. People go sleep and go work, and I'm questioning myself about that, because I have my feet here in this place now, and the place that I can transform right now is this place that I can support. And what is in me that produced this sensation of not being part of this territory, not being part of this territory now? I have that inside me, and that is cutting me off of connecting with the projects and with the people and starting something around here. And that is not a thing that comes from me. I'm noticing that is in this bioregion, that is something that is there. Things are not connected. That the projects are more for the outside. The scope is more for the outside, and there is so few projects that the scope is the place by themselves. And like people want to work for others outside and not for the I don't know if it's the effect of being the capital and has this so metropolitan thing, but I'm noticing that is the first thing that I'm noticing in myself, is that resistance of working in the project. And I have a very interesting interview with Gil Penha Lopes from Faculdade de Ciências, that is in Lisbon, in the center of Lisbon. And Gil talks about that. Gil talks that the university and the center of the research, the participatory action research, work with the country, work outside the country, but doesn't work with Lisbon and with the place where the center is and the university is. It's a very interesting phenomenon in this bioregion, that people works for outside but doesn't work in the inside. I have a story about one of the big foundations in the city, a foundation with 5 decades in Lisbon. And the foundation is one place. It's a very beautiful place, and it's one place. And they notices that when they start doing this work of regenerative development and start looking around and they noticed that they didn't did that. It was the first time, 4.5 decades after the foundations being in place, that they start meeting the neighbors and what is the equipment, and there is schools and what is all over the place around the place of the foundation. And I know they have programs for starting to engage, but it's a new thing. It's a new thing, like this perception that we have a service and the service is for outside, and we don't have to care for the place where we are. That is very embedded in the memes, in the thought structure of this bioregion, and I find them in myself. I find that in myself with my particular example, and it's my first exploration is around this. Thank you, Thierry.
Okay.
In my bioregion, and what do you notice in your bioregion? And yeah, let's go.
No, what I noticed actually, just take 3 chapters. First chapter Holland, then I moved to Aljezur, to Muji, and then at some stage I was, I love the ocean, so I wanted to take a walk. And the first walk I took was from Aljezur, so from São Martinho das Amoreiras to Zambujeira, and it was mostly eucalyptus and desolate lands. Part I walked along the Mira River. No, there was not much river. Then when I arrived at the ocean, actually the first part, it was actually interesting. I didn't know that when I walked from Sao Antonio to Zambujeira, I walked through these greenhouses. Normally, you just go over the road and you don't see that so much. But man, it was just a whole city. There were cafes and everything in between the sand. I just had to walk through the sand there. So they were at all the greenhouses, and it doesn't give you energy. But then when you arrive at the ocean, okay, everything is good. Then I think the year after, I walked the whole Rota Vicentina from Milfontes, Villanova Milfontes, actually towards Aljezur, a little bit further. I didn't go up to Sagres, because I crashed, I was tired, and actually I found out that the last bit was not so interesting. And what I saw there is, you just walk basically on the cliffs, so it's beautiful. And if you go a little bit inland, also here, it's already different. So basically, I think if you call it technically this bioregion, it's this little bit, like they say, the national park is up to the say the main road, but I think what the practicality, it's just the cliffs and a little bit, and the ocean. So basically, it's you could say almost the most unspoiled habitat we could have anywhere in Europe. And I can always feel that, here when it's just 5 kilometers from the ocean. It's good, it's nice, but when I feel somehow something irritated or too much distraction or people or cars, even here, I jump on my bike and go to the ocean, and I feel it nurtures me. Very, very pure. And there's no collective trauma there. Even here, I can feel there's some stuff, that it has always been poor. I remember when I lived in Monte Clerico during the first lockdowns, I found out that basically half of the houses were illegally built there. It's just fishermen who build their house there, or some shed or whatever, and it's illegal. Then I realized, I did some more research. Basically, you could say it has a bit of a culture of pirates. Like it's a free world, and you still see that with the people it attracts, the surfers and people like that. And during the history, it was also basically kind of more free than Lisbon and areas. And what I see now is that, they're not big. I'm part of a cooperative over here. People starting. There's also, of course, people who just bought a piece of land and so. And I think the main difference, also just listening to your story, why I really like it here, is that there's not so much mind. It's more realistic. Also the cooperativo, they started beginning of last year, I think, or the year before, I don't know exactly. And it's realistic, it's grounded, and their plans basically to cover the whole southwest until, say, Odemira, Kolos, and to the south up to Portimao. So that's quite big, but still it feels grounded and realistic, and I really enjoyed it. And what I feel to finish my my sharing, and then we can see how to go further. What I felt very strongly in Holland, basically the old structures, the old system is racing. It keeps going in the same direction. And on the bigger picture, there's now this meeting with the World Economic Forum. Basically, it's kind of a top-down kind of approach to change the system, and it's very technocratic. I mean, people sit in offices, make great plans. They don't even know the people what they're doing it for. And what I didn't realize until, say, a year ago, how big the mismatch was with the reality. Now I see totally different news reports from independent news agencies, and say, these guys, they're going with their private jets to Davos, and they're deciding for us, and and we don't want this. So it's a total mismatch. And the only way I think personally you can solve it is as you said, find an area where you can, where you have a match also with your mindset. And I couldn't find that in where I was living in Amsterdam. And start something. And if you don't find something to start with, just start with yourself. You know, I'm just I love meditating, and the project I have at the moment is just throw seeds in the wild. I mean, I now have a little field of fava beans in the in the wild that are doing great. And that's where it starts. And also this kind of inner project, as we talked about, just us. And I often still wonder, okay, should I go back into a kind of a long retreat, or should I stay in the marketplace here to do things? And maybe I should just take to do both of them.
Thank you, Thierry. I will share my screen just for us to see what I'm talking about. Where we are talking about is bioregion, because this is a new thing. Yeah, we have Portugal here. It's appear, yes. We have AB, it's the north, ABC, D is Porto and Vila Nova de Gaia. A is the Douro region, H is Aveiro, G is Castelo Branco, Idanha Nova, and this kind of stuff. Ho is where Tomar is, and it's Ribatejo. L, it's the Extremadura. You have places here like Mafra, Ericeira, Torres, Vedras, and Hem is the area that I'm talking about. It's the Lisbon part in the north. We have the metropolitan area in the south, the N, but I'm in M. I'm in Alfragide near Lisbon, and you are here in the south in the T. It's this blue one. Odmir, it's in U, and this is a big one that goes from until Spain and cuts all the mountains there. Yeah, this is a work from Direção-Geral do Ordenamento do Território. It's called Landscape Units, Unidades de Paisagem. And we are using that as a bioregion to put the bioregion mindset. And I will interrupt. Do you want to make any question around this, Thierry? Or sharing something?
No, what I'm actually it relates to is I did a bit of this method. It's called it's called ecotherapy, but then they called it eco intention. And basically, what I found out is that with a forest or any kind of natural area, they can from a distance on the map, they can measure the life vitality, and also kind of the stuck energies are there. And I think you will find very different also energetic qualities there. That's also why I mentioned what I feel here. You know, when you're basically on the cliffs, it's great. When you in between the greenhouses, it's a totally different story. And I think this life vitality also determines how much energy you have. That's what I found out when I did a eco village project in the Netherlands with it, how much energy there is to basically do anything, change anything. To give one concrete example of that, I was working on an eco village east of Amsterdam. And when I became part of the board, my job was to make a new website. Basically, the whole energy was totally fragmented. There was a lot of frustration, negative energy. So I couldn't even get people around the table to talk about making a website. Then 3 months later, after we did this kind of, you can treat these areas from a distance. That's kind of the unique thing. What I found out is that after 3 months there was positive life energy. All of a sudden, you know, other lady from the board said, you know, my sister works with a web agency, and they can make a website. All you have to do is just give the text and the pictures. That's simple. And I think right now we will find very different qualities also in these areas. And on the basic level, you can just do with kinesiology. You can feel in this area, okay, what's the life vitality? Is there negative energy? Basically, you could do it like that. And if you want to go more advanced, you would need maybe like somebody who studied this method. But I think that would be very interesting also to see, because you know, when there's no when there's just the whole system is stuck in itself, and maybe that's the case with Lisbon. Yeah, let it be. Just don't waste your energy on it. Just find an area where you can do some productive work. Otherwise, I've seen that a lot over the last 20 years, people with very good intentions, but get so frustrated after so many years, and it's impossible to work with them anymore. And they don't create anything meaningful for the world anyway. So I
Thank you,
think
Thierry.
it's very good to, I think, to explore this deeper, and I'm sure there will be people in the circle who know enough about kinesiology to do that.
I'm noticing there is another. I'm noticing another patterns in this area, in this area. One is we have a lot of innovation in schools, like it's not transforming the territory, but is like services for the people that live there. And schools is one example. I could give the example of
in Lisbon, you mean?
Yes, in this area,
in
not only in Lisbon, but Lisbon, Cascais,
Yeah.
Lourdes, in all this Ham bioregion. Yeah, we have so many innovation in schools. Like I can remember the Brave Academy, Florescer, Raiz. There is a lot of project MEL with the Association for the Homeschooling and the Learning, Free Learnings. Movimento da Escola Livre, yes. So many projects around open learning, the model from Pacheco. I remember one in Seixal, one here in Lisbon. Yeah, there is, in schools, we have so many alternative and schools that are experimenting for the next culture, even in the public school, like Carcavelos, the Grupamento Escolar de Carcavelos, and others. Yeah, that is happening. That is a thing that is happening. People, sometimes they come together and talk a little bit about that, but it's not very, very connected. But that is one of the things that happen. I'm also noticed that inside the city, there is a legacy that came from the transition town movement. About 10 years ago, was a lot of initiatives in the transition town movements, like in Lindavera, Pilheiras, a lot of them, Sintra, a lot of them in all this area. Now we don't have so many, but there are evolutions, like Pilheiras has a convergence center, Centro de Convergência Pilheiras, that they are making work with the community and transforming the neighborhood. They are very anchored in doing that. Also, the guys in Camp Lead, there's an eco neighborhood project in Camp Lead, a bottom-up one that is getting some traction. This is two examples that I'm seeing. Yeah, there is also like this tendency is happening. People going around the neighborhoods, it's trying to change the neighborhood for a more sustainable direction. Also, I know a project that are working with in around Monsanto. Monsanto is a big park in Lisbon that covers two municipalities mainly, Lisbon and Oeiras. and it's a big park, mainly to Lisbon. And around that park, we have several social neighborhoods, like maybe 12 around that. And there is the Livia and Rebandance and the people around that they are designing and going in that project and designing a project that they call the crow of Monsanto, like the crow of the king. In this case, the crow of Monsanto, a crow of Monsanto. Like, because those neighborhoods are very near of a forest, they have this huge resource there, the forest, and they can be guardians on the forest. And at the same time, the forest could come from inside the neighborhoods and extend to the city through that neighborhood. And they are designing and planning and having conversations around that. Yeah, that is happening also here. What I'm noticing with this conversation is that there is a lot of stuff, mainly for servicing and outside. There is a few of transforming the territory. And the municipality did some of that. They built new gardens. They built the cycle for the bikes, the cycle, I don't know, cycle ways for the bikes in the city. There is a planning in orienting the city for more sustainable, more friendly, green, whatever we want to call city.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that effort it's also in the municipality and in the public dimension. And the thing is not connected, and people are not coming and conversation about that yet. Maybe that is a point there. Maybe the point there. And I also noticed that in your bioregion, there is a lot of projects there. I know in Aljezur, you have Moagem with Diogo. You also have Alma with Mario. You have Orada with David. Orada, it's a very important retreat center in the south. We have that recovery near Vila do Bispo, that couple that recover a whole village and is doing tourism around that. You have very interesting projects in that place, mainly for retreats and some for organic production.
Yeah. Can I say something around it?
Yeah, go.
Basically, what your story made me think, I looked a bit at like the longer terms, and one thing I found out when I was living in São Martinho, that basically it's the same everywhere. The last 50 years, so many people moved to the cities. 50 years ago, there were 5 times as many people in rural Alentejo than now. Like it's about 20% what was there. If you look at on the coast, or the Mira and place like that, it's in general it's like 50% of the people left. And I think if you look at the cities, you know, it's I was doing all these kind of circles in Amsterdam, and it's very interesting to talk about sustainability. And then they had this kind of along one of the train lines, a little garden patch, and people do their vertical gardens on the balcony and stuff like that. It's it's very nice. I think it's kind of kind of a training ground, can be good. But when where I'm now, it's I think behind the house, it's about the size of one football field. So basically, there's plenty of land already that legally belongs to the owner that we can grow food on. So there's enough. What you see here in general, there's always some fruit trees, some fruit trees that nobody looks at. So year round they have free fruit basically. And there's this kind of little hidden patches where if I look, this looks quite fertile. I don't know, it probably belongs to somebody, but I just try out. So to make a long story short, it's here you can see that there's sustainable life is possible. And I think some stuff, if you look, you talk about this kind of real sustainability on basic needs of food. Yeah, I think here you can find there's much more possible. I mean, there are plenty of people doing permaculture and things like that, which in a way, actually, what I found out is quite similar as what the old farmers here already did. Maybe some changes, but in general, they already did that. So I think in the end, here you will find the good news. That's at least what I found out. So I'm not so worried about anymore about that the world is going to fall apart. The only thing that I'm worried about is if we find out that we shouldn't go in one linear direction anymore to making bigger cities, but basically, if you look in the city, inspire people to be on the land again. So I think in the next 20, 30 years, you will see that if we take a good course, which is sustainable, that the cities will get smaller. And one last thing, what you see very, very much also around here is digital nomads. So basically, a lot of work is independent on place, so people can go anywhere. You can even sit in your camper, and if you have a good internet connection, you can buy one of these what's called Starlink things. Cost you €100 a month. you have great internet anywhere.
I'm hearing, like if I look to the patterns, we have more 10 minutes. If I look to the patterns here, I'm seeing that both bioregions have a challenge, and the challenge is people are not these people that are experimenting with next culture stuff. It doesn't matter why, in neighborhoods, in schools, in services, in gatherings, in retreat centers, in whatever, in production organic. These people are not starting conversations together. The things are not connected. In here, in this area, I don't know anybody that is making that effort, and I'm noticing that maybe that is a door for me, for me to.
You mean in your area, people are not connecting?
No, that is not.
Okay. Yeah.
That is not happening. And that is a pattern that I'm seeing here in this area and also in your area.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, maybe that could be a doorway for me for exploring that and see how can I start doing that, bringing people to talk. That could be a possibility. There is in your bioregion, Mario from the Alma project is starting to bring a first group of 12 together for a program we call an activation program. Maybe you can go and visit Mario and Joanna, visit the project and talk a little bit with him. I can share the contact. And
Yeah,
he's trying. He already talked with some game world builders in the region to try to like Igor is doing that in Odmira in the bioregion U. Is trying to bring people together and start a first team of 12 for activating that place. And Mario is doing in the T in this bioregion where you are, Thierry. Maybe that could be a good conversation. Yeah, I have this sense that something needs to be done to connect people and to start that conversations.
Can I say something around that?
Let me finish this.
Okay, yeah.
And I'll pass to you. This pattern thing. I also am noticing that there is a this sense of alienation that I feel in myself that like it's like I'm here but I'm not here from one side, that happens inside me, and from the other side I'm here and I'm alone. I'm here and I have to do this thing and I'm alone. Like I'm seeing that there is patterns of alienation here, different from my bioregion to yours, but both with alienation thing. And I'm with that question. What is creating that, and how can I? I know, but what is possible to do for bringing awareness to that? I'm noticing these two patterns with our conversation, and yeah, that's me for now. What are you noticing?
Yeah. No, actually, what I noticed myself physically, and it started 1.5 years ago. There's a lot of stuck energy also here in the body. It's difficult to go to the toilet. It's just totally stuck. I've had that before, and I think it relates also what's happening in the world. And on the positive side, what I found out after the banking crisis, around that time I was already doing very deep meditation retreats in India. So I was going very, very high also on that level. My feeling was then afterwards, at some stage, I could get a group of people around me, and yet I could only really do that work when I was constantly doing my meditation practice. So again, I think in the heart, it starts, and I didn't know exactly what I wanted to do. I didn't have any agenda, but then at some stage, people around me came, and we set up an energy cooperative and a innovators circle. So I think that's at least the core. And my feeling is, if I look at the timelines, that I've been more and more interested in astrology and similar practices, is that we're now entering a time, especially like the first half of this year, that on one side the dominoes will fall more and more, the stuff that doesn't work anymore, and that there's space coming to get things started. So let's just deal with our own frustration on a daily basis and stay fresh and open in the heart. I think that's the recipe I have. Thank you. That's complete.
Thank you, Thierry. Let's go for checkout. I think we can go for checkout. We have 5 minutes to check out. You want to start, Thierry?
Yeah, that's fine. Then maybe on a practical level, if it would be any interesting, I can maybe help with these bioregions to check, say, the life vitality with a few people, and also if there's anything else that we can find out about it, because I know the basics of this method. And the other thing that also comes up for me is that if it would be, I mean, I do my meditation anyway, but if it would be interesting for the circle, for the larger community to also have, I don't know, every week or once a month or so, just really have a connection space Rob actually did it in a way last week with the circle, with stories to get us beyond the mind, and to really get a stronger container, if you understand what I mean.
Did you finish, Thierry?
Yeah, I'm finished.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I'm going out with a little bit more energy in my system. For me, I feel glad about this exploration around bioregion. Something shifted in me, like I don't know, maybe it's the first time that I have this conversation around the bioregion where I live, and start shifting my mind around that. So, okay, and I know these projects and these people, and this is happening, and this is in that area, and suddenly something was dusty, and now it's more clean, more, okay, there is a different perspective here in myself, inside of me. I'm noticing that, and maybe that is a doorway for me for exploring that. How can I connect these people? How can I engage and start conversations around here and this bioregion? It was very interesting to go there. I think it's the first time that I did that for this area. In a way, it's the first step for this being my bioregion, like something like this. I'm starting to appropriate myself, or have this identity part of, I have my feet here in this bioregion, and I have a responsibility there, and more clarity around that. That was very interesting, and I'm curious to see how this recording arrived to the others, and what could be the conversation around that like people that are in G or A or B or D or C, whatever, starting making the kind of questions that we did here. What is happening in my bioregion? What is my bioregion? What is happening there? What is the people that I know? What is the kind of projects and the kinds of patterns that I'm seeing in my bioregion? Yeah, this kind of conversation, I think it's a very interesting conversation to continue and to explore. And I will put in the description in this recording in YouTube, I will put the link of the Unidades de Paisagem, the publication from Direção-Geral do Ordenamento do Território, for the people that are curious about that and want to know more. It's 6 volumes, 6 books. It's very interesting. We don't have about the islands, Madeira and Açores. We only have about the Portugal continental. And yeah, that's it. And thank you, Thierry, for going with me in this exploration.
Yeah, thank you. I will send you some information about this eco-therapy method. They also did a project. They measured basically life vitality of all kind of areas in Europe. So that might be also interesting. People want to look more into that.
Yeah, thank you. Please do. Até já.
Yeah, até já. Thank you. Enjoy the day.